Mathematicians, my goal here is to help you review for the final exams. Heptagon always has 7 sides. Make sure that you know all of the ones from 3 to 10 sides, so triangle all the way up to a decagon. All right, angle G corresponds to angle W. Make sure you have the angle symbol. In congruent triangles, corresponding parts are congruent, and so those angles are congruent. All right, if we're reflecting the point 3, -2, so think about where that is, across the x-axis, well, here's our x-axis, it's going to land at 3, +2. So this is our original, this is our new. When you reflect it across the x-axis, the only thing that changes is the sign on the y. If it were a reflection across the y-axis, the only thing that would change is the sign on the x. All right, here we're doing it across the translation, 1 to the right and down 3. So add 1 to the x value, you get 3. Subtract 3 from the 4, and you get 1. Or add a -3 to the 4, you get 1. So new point would be at 3, 1. All right, we've got 2 sides at an angle on each of these. So I'm thinking these are either similar by side angle side or not similar. So let's write a proportion. So we could say 8 is to 12, those are the smaller sides, as 14 is to 21, those are the big sides. Question is, are these equal? So we can cross multiply. We can do 21 times 8, we get 168. And we could do 12 times 14, we get 168. These are in fact equal, so that means these triangles are similar by side angle side. All right, next, the most obvious proportion that I can think to write here is that x is to 21, as 24 is to 20. Lots of other valid proportions, but when you have 3 or more parallel lines cut by 2 transversals, you'll end up with these proportional segments. You can solve a proportion by cross multiplying. 20 times x equals 21 times 24. 21 times 24 gives us 504. And then to get rid of multiplying by 20, we divide by 20 on each side. And so we get 25.2 for the value of x. Here we have similar triangles. As we go from the one on the left to the one on the right, we're multiplying by 3. And so we can do that one more time. For this one, multiply by 3, we get 30. So that's one way to solve it. You could also solve it with a proportion. So let's suppose you didn't notice that it's multiplying by 3. Then we would say 6 is to 18 as 10 is to, I'll call that x. Then you could solve this proportion by cross multiplying. X times 6 is 6x, 18 times 10 is 180. Divide by 6 and you get 30. All right, are these triangles congruent? Well, we have a pair of angles that are congruent. We have another pair of angles that are congruent. And then we have the sides that are shared, so by the reflexive property, they're congruent to itself. The segment's congruent to itself. So these triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. All right, we've got a pair of sides that are congruent. We have a pair of angles that are congruent. And so we need another pair of sides. And it needs to force the angles to be the included angles. So the sides that will do that is EF, segment EF, is congruent to segment QR. Make sure you have the segment symbols there. Now we have triangles congruent by side angle side. All right, we got segments that are congruent. We've got 3x minus 1 or minus 2 equals 13. We can solve this two-step equation, add 2. We get 3x equals 15. And then to get rid of multiplying by 3, divide by 3. And x is 5. Original version here, this was x. I messed that up, so it needs to be a different variable. All right, In a triangle, if two sides are congruent, the angles across from them are congruent. So y is 32. Mid-segment, we've got EF is 14, VY is 16, so it's increased by 2. We're going to increase by 2 more to get the other base of 18. All right, from B to A, we go down 5. So we're going to go down 5 from C. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That side CD is both parallel and congruent to BA. And so we definitely have a parallelogram here. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. So we can set these equal to each other. Subtract y from each side, we get 2y equals 20. And then divide by 2, and y is 10. These opposite sides are congruent as well, so we can write 3x minus 14 equals x plus 22. Subtract x from each side, we get 2x minus 14 equals 22. So we have a two-step equation here. Add 14, you get 36. So 2x equals 36, and then divide by 2, and x is 18. All right, here's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Let me remind you what you've memorized on that. And so here our legs are x, and our hypotenuse is x square root 2. So if x is 12 here, then our hypotenuse will be 12 square root 2. All right, here we have two of the three sides in a right triangle, so we can set this up with the Pythagorean theorem. Side across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. So x squared equals 18 squared plus 24 squared. 18 squared is 324. 24 squared is 576. Add these together, you get 900. So x squared equals 900. To get rid of squared, we square root. Only a positive answer makes sense here. And so we get 34x. All right, sine of an angle, cosine of its complement are the same, so subtract from 90 and we get 61. This is a 30, 60, 90. Let me remind you what you've memorized here. The short leg is x, the hypotenuse is 2x, and the long leg is x square root 3. So here 2x equals 28, so divide by 2 and we get 14. So x is 14. Y is equal to x square root 3, and now we know x is 14, so we can just say y is 14 square root 3. So we found both x and y. All right, here looking from this 25-degree angle, we have the opposite, and we have an expression for the adjacent. So the trig ratio that we should use here is tangent. Tangent of 25 degrees equals 20 over x. To get rid of division by x, we'll multiply both sides by x. So we have x times the tangent of 25 degrees equal to 20. And then to get rid of multiplying by the tangent of 25 degrees, we'll divide by the tangent of 25 degrees. So on the left side, tangent of 25 degrees is cancel out. And so we have 20 divided by tangent of 25 degrees. We'll go to our calculator for the decimal approximation. So 20 divided by tangent 25 degrees is equal to approximately 42.89 when we round it to the nearest hundredth. All right, here 7 multiplied by 2 is 14, so if we have the one on the right, we're going to divide by 2 to get the one on the left. So 12 divided by 2 gives us 6 for DF, and then 11 divided by 2 would give us 5.5 for FB. Our goal here is to find AB, which is made up of 7 plus 6 plus 5.5. 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 5.5 is 18.5 for the measure of AB. There's a couple other ways you could do that, but It's the way that stood out to me. All right, here we've got this vertical angles here. And so we also have parallel lines. It says it up here somewhere. AB is parallel to DE, and so we have these alternate interior angles that are congruent. And so these triangles are similar. So X matches up with, corresponds to 45. X is to 45 as, you could say 35 is to 25, or you could say 42 is to 30. So your choice there. Cross multiply, we get 25x equal to, now we're multiplying 45 times 35. And so we get 1,575. And then to get rid of multiplying by 25, we can divide both sides by 25. And so we get 63 for x. These happen to be in meters. Opposite sides on a parallelogram are congruent, and so we can say that if one side is 14, the side across from it must be 14. So this is one of the other three sides that we need. We know the perimeter of this is 58 inches, and so these opposite sides again will be congruent. Perimeter is distance around, so we'll add up all the sides. I'm going ahead and organizing them based on like terms just for convenience. So 1x plus 1x, 2x, 14 plus 14 is 28. Two-step equation from here. To get rid of adding 28, subtract 28. And so we get 2x equal to 30. And then divide by 2, and x is 15. That represents the other two sides of this parallelogram. You can add up all four sides, so including this 14, 15, and 15, and you should get 58. All right, here we're trying to find the sine of angle A. So from angle A, opposite side is 6, and the hypotenuse is 9. Sine of A equals opposite over hypotenuse. And then we can simplify this by dividing them both by 3. So the sine of A simplifies to 2/3. All right, if we ask a bunch of students how much time do they spend studying each week, we would get numbers out of this. And so if your data is numbers, it's quantitative. If it is categories, it would be categorical. Like number of favorite ice cream or favorite color, those type of things, those answers would be in words, and so it would be categorical data. All right, the mean of this set is 4.5. If a value of 0 is added to the set, how will the standard deviation change? Well, if 0 is added, then it's going to be as far away from the mean, so it's going to increase the standard deviation. All right, dot plot here, we've got median as the middle number. So think about what this set is. We've got 3 5s, we've got 2 6s, 2 7s, and an 8. So thinking about taking away one from each side to get to the center, we could take away these two, these two, these two. We end up with 6 and 6 in the middle. The average of 6 and 6 is 6. So median is 6. Mode is the one that occurs most, and that's 5. And then the range here is the biggest minus the smallest. 8 minus 5 is 3. So we have a range of 3. All right, so hopefully this video helped you as you're studying for the final exam.